Well, hey friends, how are y'all doing today? I hope that every one of you are doing great. I have something that I wanted to show you. My green stalks planters have arrived, and if you're not familiar with them, these are vertical flowers and they're manufactured in Knoxville, Tennessee. I am not affiliated with them, but I was intrigued by them, and so I want to test them out this year and see how they do for us. So I have plenty of seeds to go inside of them, but I wanted to try to start off with a few fresh plants as well. It may be a little bit too early, but there is a great nursery right down the road from me, and I want to go see if they have anything in stock that I can fill this up with. So let's take a little field trip, because after all, it is Friday, and Friday is the perfect day for taking a little field trip. So let's hop in the car. Well, I am so glad that y'all have decided to join me today on this field trip. We are going to go to Roundtree Nursery and Supply, and thankfully it's not very far from my house at all. About 15 minutes is all. They originally started out in South Charlotte, but they've been here for about 2 years now in the Fairview area, and we are delighted to have them out here. And everyone I've spoken to said that they're very happy to be out in this area too. The pace of life is a lot slower and easier, but a lot more friendly, and just good Southern folks out here who just really appreciate them being located out this way. And I'm going to read a little information to you from their website. It says, while our official story as Roundtree starts in 1980, the history of our business extends all the way back to the 1950s. Originally Troutman greenhouses, early production included a wide array of plant material for sale locally. In 1980, our current owners purchased the business and began to develop a successful wholesale growing operation. We serviced many of the local grocery stores and small retailers with interior blooming plants, helping to build a customer base who valued our dedication to quality and service. The mid-80s saw the opening of our very own retail store, which has continued to grow along with the city and has become one of the premier retail garden centers in the region. Check out those amaryllis. Aren't they beautiful? And it also says, as our retail operation has grown, much of our growing operation has moved to our farm outside of the city. There we produce landscape annuals and perennials for our garden center, as well as professional landscape industries in North and South Carolina. We've watched our business and our city grow immensely over the last 40 years, and we look forward with great anticipation to serving our loyal customers for at least 40 more. In the spring of 2023, we officially opened our new location in Fairview, North Carolina, and we are located on a beautiful 18-acre property that will be dedicated not only to shopping, but education and enjoyment as well. And again, this is from their website, RoundtreeNurseryandSupply.com. But I want you to look at some of these beautiful plants that they have down there already. Now, they didn't have quite what I was looking for when I went. I was looking for, well, you do see some herbs there. They did have some rosemary. I was looking for some more annuals and more vegetables, and they told me that they would have those at the 1st of April. So it's going to be coming soon, so I can't wait. But they just have a great variety of plants and trees, and the best part is they really focus on native species. And so, because as you well may know, things like kudzu, and if you're not from the South, you may not know what kudzu is, but it is a very invasive species. It's a vine that grows especially in Tennessee and can just choke out places. And so they don't have things like that here. I did see a couple of Bradford pears, but they try not to have too many of those because those are also a species that's been brought in, so it's not native. Here you see some beautiful different types of magnolia trees. One was called a teddy bear magnolia. I was actually looking for a persimmon tree, a Fuyu persimmon tree, but I didn't see any. And they told me they may be getting some in, but we'll have to see about that. And I believe that was a banana, some kind of a banana tree. And look at that little I don't know what that is, what you call that. I don't know if that's a catkin or what that is. But anyway, I thought that was beautiful. And you can see that they just have a wide variety, again, of different shrubs, different trees. And what's so nice about going down to Roundtree is again, they've only been there since 2023. And I maybe visited their South Charlotte store once, maybe once. If I did, it was so long ago, I don't even remember. But they have such a great atmosphere and such a workplace environment that their folks stay with them for a very long time. Most of the folks that I've spoken to have said that they've worked there for over 20 years. There was a gentleman named Carl who was very helpful to me. I even asked him what his last name was because he looked like my people. He looked like my father and my aunt, but there was no relation. But anyway, it was just kind of fun to talk to him because I don't know about y'all, but when I talk to people, they probably think I'm a little nosy because I ask a lot of questions about who they are and where they came from because I want to know things about them. And my kids have laughed at me before because they said, "Mama, people are going to think you're nosy." I'm not nosy. I'm really truly not nosy. That's a rhododendron. Isn't that beautiful? I am curious because it's my way of getting to know people because I truly believe if you dig deep enough, you're going to find that sixth degree of separation. Camilla, Japanese Camilla. Isn't that stunning? If only they had a fragrance, I would buy every one of them. As I'm making this voiceover looking at that Camilla right now, my mouth started watering. Can you believe that? That is how much I love flowers, even if they don't smell. I love looking at them. That's a gardenia. I'll probably go back and get a gardenia because the fragrance, oh my heavens, if you've never smelled gardenias, it's just spectacular. This is wormwood, and you probably already know this, but wormwood is used in making the liqueur, or is it liqueur, I'm not sure, but it's used in making absinthe. And I believe that is what our old friend, was it Vincent van Gogh, was drinking when he cut off his ear and sent it to the lady. Bless his heart. Have you ever read his story? It's really something. I think I would have been his friend because he was a troubled man, but he just wanted to make pretty art and sell it, and it's difficult to do sometimes. But that is a coneflower, and that is also known as echinacea, and that is also an herb. So they did have quite a few herbs there, just not the ones that I was looking for in particular. I actually bought some echinacea and I'm growing it. I didn't buy it from Roundtree. I already have it. This is a form of thyme. This is, and I can't see that sign because of my voice over popping up here. That's English thyme that I'm touching now. That has a wonderful fragrance. What I was touching earlier did not have a strong fragrance, but that's more of a creeping plant. This is another one of those native species, and this is a coral bell. These are some of my most favorite plants in the world. They are so spectacular looking. Look at that chartreuse. They have another one that's more of a rust-colored foliage. Check that out. Isn't that gorgeous? I love that color foliage. It is just spectacular to me. And then, aren't those beautiful? I believe, are those impatiens, or no, they're not. They're Johnny Jump Ups. I'm not sure, and forgive me because, again, as I'm recording this for you, there is a big screen in front of my recording area, and I can't read what I'm looking at, and so we're going to have to guess on some of these things. I'm pretty sure that these are peonies, though, and Carl was telling me that when I purchased one of these, which I did, to make sure that there were at least 5 eyes on the plant that I purchased, because that would ensure that it was going to be a bloomer for this year. I have to tell you, I absolutely love peonies. My husband's grandmother, Mama Sellers, called them pionies. Have any of you ever heard them called pionies? Anyway, I call them peonies, and I actually wound up buying the Sandra Bernhardt. You can see it right there. I bought that one. It's very fragrant, and I can't wait for that to bloom, because I think I've bought a peony bush or a little root every year for the past 10 years, and I can never get it to make a flower. It will grow a little bit of a leaf, but then it just dies back, and I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing right. But I've never purchased one that was already growing in a pot like that, and Carl even advised me to keep it in the pot. He said that they like not full sun, a little bit of shade, a little bit of sun, and keeping it in that pot will ensure that I can move it if I need to. So I am going to keep it in the pot this year and see where it blooms, and then I'm going to plant it where it blooms. So what's that old saying, bloom where you're planted? Those are strawberries. Those are ever-blooming strawberries. I started to buy those, but I have some at the house that I'm going to plant, and I hated to keep buying. This is so neat, guys. They have turmeric. I needed to buy this. I really should buy it. I need to make some more money first, because I can go crazy buying too many things. That is ginger, and I believe there is another type of ginger in here too. Yeah, there's two more kinds. There is a ginger farmer here in Xoxo, North Carolina, and I went and interviewed her, goodness, about 10 years ago, and I helped her dig the ginger. You talk about a wonderful experience. The smell of that fresh ginger is so wonderful. It's baby ginger too. So the ginger you see from the grocery store, it already has that hard casing on it, that almost bark-like substance, and it seems like it's been in the ground longer, and it's turned into more of a stiff plant or root. Baby ginger is very, very soft and sweet, and it's not as fibrous, and it's so much fun to chop that up and eat it and use it. So if you can ever get a hold of any fresh ginger, baby ginger, be sure to do that, because it really is very different than the ginger you buy at the grocery store. And this is another, that looked like a lily pad to me. It's not, but it looked like one, and I thought that was beautiful, that different type of foliage. This is hellebore. I don't know if you say heliebore or hellebore, but that's what this is. And this is deer resistant, and every part of the plant is poisonous. And I found that out after I rubbed my hands all over it. I like to rub my hands on plants and then smell my hands, because that lets you know if the plant has fragrance or not, if you get some of the oils on your hands. This is southern jessamine, and it has a yellow trumpet-looking flower. And so I think that those are very pretty too. Our neighbor has this growing up over her barn, and in the springtime it blooms so beautifully. And I thought that this plant was very pretty too, with a little purplish blue flowers on there. I purchased one of these. The smell is goodness, I don't know how to explain it. The plant itself looks like an evergreen plant, and it has sort of an evergreen lemony sort of scent to it, and it's supposed to be good to plant in a dry area, and I do have an area that I'm thinking of planting it in. I think that it will be perfect. These, I believe, are in the pinks family. Yeah, it's a dianthus, so it's also in the carnation family. So these have a sort of a spicy scent, and I love the way those look too. It's a shocking sort of a crimson color, and I think that is so pretty in a garden. And then you can see they have some more variety. That's phlox. Phlox that's spelled Phlox. That's an old-fashioned flower. You'll see that growing in mounds, oftentimes in the yards of people who had a garden back in the 50s. I know my great-grandmothers both had that blooming. As I was checking out, I discovered an artist, a local artist named W. Carl Ely, and I love his artwork. It's so expressive and so bold, and I love how he signs his name so big on his artwork, and it's so much fun to come into a place and see a local artist with their artwork displayed. I want to get in touch with this guy and tell him how much his work inspired me, because it's so fun to see. And after I got my plants back home, I got out my art supplies down in the basement, and I got to work making my own card. And his dragonfly on the wall was the inspiration for this card. I've always loved dragonflies. In fact, in our house in Texas, I made a mosaic of a dragonfly on our bathroom wall, and it was sort of an iridescent tile that I used, and I was so proud of that dragonfly, and I hated to leave it. And I just wonder if the people who bought our house left it up in that bathroom. They probably didn't. It really wasn't all that good, but I was proud of it. But anyway, I pulled out my acrylic paints, and I got to work making my own rendition of a beautiful dragonfly. And supposedly dragonflies mean new beginnings, and I'm not sure of that, but I just love how they look, and I love their iridescent wings. And so again, I made my own rendition in this little card here. And I would love to give this little piece of artwork away. If it's something that you're interested in receiving, let me know. And by commenting down below in the comments section what your favorite flower is. And if you do that, and then I will know that you want to be entered into the drawing, and then I will put your name in a hat, and I will draw out a name, and I will mail this little card to you. This method of artwork that I'm doing, I believe, is called line and wash, if I'm not mistaken. It's where you put paint down, whether it be acrylic paint or watercolor paint, and then you use a waterproof pen over the top of it. Now, you have to make certain that your paint is dry underneath before you use that pen, but I just like how that looks. And it's always a lot of fun to sprinkle a little paint on the outside edges just to see what kind of effect that has. And then I love to take the tape off to reveal what the painting looks underneath. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed that field trip, and I can't wait to see you on the next video. Y'all take good care.